sand beds, we have them already a lot. Measurement scheme is the last thing I'd like to address. It's a very important part of your monitoring plan. If you start thinking about monitoring, what is the period I should look at, the location, what is the frequency, or what is the number of sites that I should select. My advice is do an assessment of your measurement scheme on the basis of a dynamic population model simulation. If you intend to start monitoring in the field, don't grab your gear and run into the field. No, run to your computer and try to simulate as if you are monitoring outside. Because monitoring population viability, in the end, that is what we are interested in. That is what we would like to monitor. That is a multiple year operation. So you better get things straight beforehand. One example, we did a small exercise for, let's say, a badger-like animal. We looked at the probability of a significant result in relation to the number of study sites. And the different colors of lines in this graph are just different percentages in which we expect the wildlife mitigation measures to be effective. So between 100% and 20% effectiveness. Let's say if half of your tunnels or half of your wildlife fences is broken or it's not functioning, you should go for the line of 50%. And on the x-axis you see the number of observation years necessary to reach a certain level of probability to give significant results. And if we compare the two simulations here with one study site on the left and 10 study sites on the right, you see if you decide for yourself that you want an 80% probability of significant effect, and you assume that your wildlife mitigation is for 80% effective, you don't assume 100%, but you think, well, we did quite a good job, so let's look at the line of 80%. You see in the first situation, you have to measure 26 years. That will scare off some people, some funders usually. But you can also see on the right side, if you increase the number of study sites, you can decrease the number of years you have to measure. In this case, already more than half, 12 years. That sounds more like it. And even if you increase the study sites even further, you may be able to improve your measurement scheme. So don't run into the field immediately. Look at your computer first. Try to figure out what is the best measurement scheme. Maximize inferential strength. In other words, maximize or be sure that you have a high probability and a low uncertainty that your research results, your conclusions are true. It's dependent on a lot of factors. I will not go into that today. A few statements. Last, I think without studies that have high inferential strength, that have a lot of power, strong conclusions, it will be very difficult to prove the effectiveness of defragmentation programs and to justify our future actions, future investments in growth mitigation. So we need good studies. I think there is a strong correlation, and you will probably agree with me, between very good studies and costs. However, I think we should focus maybe on a few very good studies at a few locations instead of running to every wildlife passage we have made and do poor studies. And the third one I'd like to say here, that if we want to do things that I discussed today, study design, studies with high inferential strength, on time scales and the spatial scales that should be done, it's not easy to